Race mixing was illegal up until 2000. Race mixing was illegal up until 2002. You're going to give up 50,000 years of evolution if you mix up with this game.
This has to be one of the most unhinged things I've seen lately, and that's a really high bar. But it also speaks to the simple fact that the ridiculous, absurd, racist things that right-wingers say all over the internet fundamentally are entirely disconnected from reality and completely disconnected from how normal people actually think.
Are you filming us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
Just look awkwardly. Just look awkwardly.
No, you realize that race makes it's going to give up 50,000 years of your evolution, right? What are you, a Jew?
Are you done?
Are you Jewish?
No, man. Are you done though?
No, but I'm saying the truth.
No, hold on.
Actually,
Hold on.
though,
I know. But
like,
are you
I
done?
am a scientist and
Yeah.
you
Stop
are
that.
wrong.
Stop. He's
So you
Hey, it's done now. It's done.
So you think?
You stop that. Stop.
No, you
that. Homie, stop.
you think hybrid vigor is a thing?
Bro, film me, bro. Film me.
Okay.
Film me. Just stop. Stop that.
What are you?
Right?
What are you? Some
It's done, bro.
SJW warrior?
Dude, I don't give a fuck.
Hey,
It's done.
white people are only
It's
7% of the world's population.
That's me. And I'm part of that. And I'm part of that. And it's done now.
And if we
whatever you're doing is done.
So this video is unbelievable, but you can see that a ton of people in this crowd come up to this person who is saying like all of this racist, vitriolic nonsense and like calling him out on just being like a genuinely crummy person. And to be clear, by some of the things that they say, it's not even that these people are all like particularly politically aware or like super open-minded or anything like that. These are just normal people trying to go about their normal day who don't want to be bothered by somebody who's so overtly and obviously racist. They don't want to be bothered by these unhinged right-wingers. And the thing is, if you are like online a lot of the time, you start to realize that the right-wingers online are just so completely disconnected from reality. The people who watch like the Matt Walshes and the Ben Shapiro, while they may have platforms to a certain degree within their niche audiences, they're not really like mainstream figures that are putting out stuff that like everybody's watching or paying attention to. And that's actually something that on one hand gives me a lot of hope, but on another hand is also a little bit frustrating because you got a lot of people who don't actually fully understand and realize how bad things are getting. They don't really recognize the fact that the Republican Party is effectively a Nazi party at this point, where literally you have these like Republican commentators that are running around trying to ban trans people from existence, that are spreading deeply anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, that are pushing like extremely misogynistic stuff, pushing extremely racist stuff. And a lot of people seem to be operating in the world that the Republicans, it's just like another political party, when in actuality these are the types of people that are like leading the Republican Party. It is the absolute most unhinged that end up being the most active, that end up dominating the politics of the Republican Party. And unfortunately, Democrats, instead of treating these people like the unhinged weirdos that they actually are, try to like engage with the Republicans as like a real serious political party and still are playing this game of like, hey, maybe we have like bipartisanship or something, when at the end of the day, the people that are most involved in Republican Party politics are people exactly like this. It's just that most people aren't involved in politics at all. There are plenty of people who literally don't vote, and especially not in midterms and stuff like that. And especially like people who are like working class or people who are young. Most normal people that are living about their lives aren't like constantly involved in politics. They're usually like only tangentially aware. But most people also are generally supportive of trans people, even if they're not going to be getting my pronouns right every day of the week or anything like that. At least they're not out trying to ban my existence. And most people are against people being like overtly racist, even if they have some stuff in their head that they really need to work through. Same thing with like homophobia and other things like that. Like fundamentally, a lot of people have adopted a lot of really crummy ideas about the world because it's so mainstream and are like television and movies and stuff like that. But also at the same time, most people think that these overtly hateful weirdos are exactly that. Weirdos. Which is why when these Republicans try and go in the street and like debate the existence of trans people or talk about interracial marriage in this way, they get like laughed out of the room, they get shunned out of the room, they get protested, and people just do not want to be around them. Because like fundamentally at the end of the day, nobody wants to sit and hear somebody rant about frogs turning gay or these anti-Semitic conspiracy theories or George Soros or whatever the hell these Republicans are busy talking about. Because fundamentally, we all just know that it has nothing to do with real life. People are worried about their landlord being crummy. People are worried about their employer being crummy. People are worried about whether or not they're going to be able to pay the bills. They're worried about their relationships and having a good time. And so this is really, on some sense, a double-edged sword, because on one hand, these right-wing weirdos who end up being, like, as a group of people, generally dangerous people to have around that have a pretty high rate of committing things like mass shootings, the fact that everybody kind of recognizes that they're like unhinged weirdos and that they're kind of like alienated is like a good thing. But also, because regular folks are not super involved in politics, they aren't really aware of how much that is really dictating the direction of where the Republican Party is going. They're not really aware of how much that is affecting people that aren't them specifically. So for example, Tennessee just passed a law, it still needs to be signed by the governor, but they just passed a law that could, in its broadest interpretation, ban trans people from public. Most cisgender folks don't really understand that that's what that bill can do. They don't even understand that that's going on. And so even people who say that they care about trans people just literally are not aware of the oppression that trans people face on a daily basis. And they're not aware of like the hatred and vitriol coming from the political right. It is the lack of political engagement and organization that exists, and the lack of political awareness that exists among the public, that leads to this problem where a lot of people who are very much against everything that the right wing is in favor of kind of end up doing nothing about it, because they don't really see it in their daily lives. But when these right-wingers interact with like normal, regular people in their daily lives, these right-wingers, they learn very, very quickly that they're deeply unpopular. In fact, most of Republican outrage and culture war stuff is them just being angry that they're unpopular. That's why Republicans cry about cancel culture, because people will say something in the comments section and say, hey, that's really mean, or that's really racist, why would you do that? And then they just cry about being canceled. So all that is to say, the political right in the United States is just deeply, deeply unhinged and completely disconnected from reality. And most normal people are completely off-put by anything that they say and do, because these people are really creepy and weird. But they're also dangerous because most people are not politically involved, and they don't realize how much power people like this have within the Republican Party. And they don't realize that legislation is actively being passed today based on the beliefs of weirdos and creeps like this guy.